means knot. Yeah, so have a little picture of a knot up here. So this next verse speaks about granthi or knots. These are very important verses of Kathopanishad. So full attention, and we'll follow the same pattern of direct seeing it in samadhi, seeing it in swapna nidra jnana sadhana, and letting it percolate into open-eyed daily routine or open-eyed samadhi. So were you able to watch the desire as a movement? Even if a simple desire of I want to drink water does not come in words, how many of you realize that? How many of you realize that the body automatically operates and completes its desire if it is meant to drink the water? If it is not meant to drink, even if 2-3 times the idea flashes, the body is not meant to drink water, it doesn't drink. So did you realize that desire has a movement, and this movement dissolves into rest automatically? Okay. So what does that do? What does watching every movement dissolve into rest do? The next verse speaks about that. The next verse is when all the knots of the heart, K-N-O-T-S, granthi, knots, these knots, when all the knots of the heart are cut, then the mortal becomes immortal. That is the teaching. So knots, what knots are there in the heart? What heart are we talking about? Number one, we are not talking about the body-mind person or the physical heart. A knot or granthi on the spiritual path is the belief, I am the body, I am the doer, I am the experiencer, I am the one that is responsible here, this is mine, that is not mine. These are granthis. Granthi, knot. These are knots. Why are they called knots? Because they are conditioning. I was not born with it. As a baby, I never felt I am this body. Mama asked, is Ekta hungry? I repeated, yes, Ekta is hungry. So she said, no, this is Ekta. So you should say, yes, I am hungry. So that's how I learned to identify, oh, I am the body. Yeah? This identification didn't happen in words. It is a conditioning. The first knot is tied. I am the body. Yeah? Similar such experiences made me believe I am the mind. Oh, second knot is tied. When I broke my first toy, the first time I took the leg off of the little Barbie doll, Mama said, you broke it. I said, no, I didn't break it. She said, no, accept that you broke it. And then I realized, oh, I am the doer. Another knot was tied. Like that, knots started getting tied. I am the experiencer. I am this. I am the daughter. I am that. I am not this. This is right. This is wrong. Knots, knots, knots. Granthi, granthi, granthi. Yeah? That is what this knot depicts. These are not real. These are not my inherent nature. They are only beliefs and conditionings that later were imposed on me. Therefore, cutting the knots is not an action. Yeah, because they are not real. It is only a clear recognition. I need to see. And when I see, they collapse instantly. For example, I saw that the body automatically gets up and decides to do this. Then I say in hindsight, oh, I changed my mind, I wanted to do this. Then I see the body gets up and does something else. And then I believe that I decided to do this. I decide I will take path A for the walk, but the body takes path B. Then I say, oh, I changed my mind. This is all happening in hindsight. When you start seeing carefully, you realize, oh, I'm not the doer. The body does. I know at the time the action happens. Similarly, there is action at the thought level. The action at the thought level happens and I recognize it at the same time. If I were really the doer, I would have known that the body was going to change the path from A to B. So when you start recognizing these little things, you realize, I'm not the doer, I'm not the experiencer, I'm not this body, I'm not the identity Ekta even. Ekta is not there in deep sleep, but I am. I know deep sleep so clearly. I know there is nothing there. I know I am at peace there. I know. Who else will know this? Nobody else can know the peace of my deep sleep. Only I know. This means that I am there when Ekta is not there. I am there when the identity is not there. I am there when the doer is not there. I am there when the experiencer is not there. This realization wakes me up. And that's how these knots start opening. And you start seeing then. You see the truth. You recognize the old conditioning comes back up and you have to take responsibility for this action. And you see that granthi, that knot coming up. You recognize it also. And still there is a part of you that realizes, I am not responsible for this. It is happening. And there is this conflict between this doership and non-doership. Do you realize that? Most of your conflict is always internal. It's between the doership recognition and the non-doership inherent nature. This is just a recognition of a thought or feeling, some wave, some perception in the waking world. It's only a recognition. It is not my nature. It's like seeing the movie and thinking I am the hero or heroine. But internally, I know I'm not the hero or heroine. Yeah, and then this conflict is there constantly. So the conflict is always between the doership and non-doership. Conflict is always between the experiencership and non-experiencership. Conflict is always between the celebration of birthday of Ekta and the feeling of I am birthless and deathless, I was never born, I can never die. The conflict is between these. These are all granthis. Recognizing the granthi and waking up, it is only a thought. I am doing. I am experiencing. It is only a thought. The thought appears and disappears. The one that is knowing this thought, that knower is not doing, is not experiencing. It is only knowing. So now at the higher level, you start segregating knowing from experiencing, knowing from doing, knowing from the feeling of mindness, knowing from the thought of I, me, mine. This segregation is called viveka, power of discernment. Okay. This starts multiplying in your direct seeing, and if it doesn't happen again, we have to sit in meditation or samadhi, reach that point where there's bodilessness, but I still am. That's how I recognize, oh, I'm not the doer. I have attained thoughtlessness in samadhi, but I still am. I am not the experiencer. There's no feeling even. No identity structure remains in samadhi. There is no doer, no experiencer, no body. Not even the idea of an I remains for the people who get to, for the ones who get to the third milestone of I-lessness. Even the I collapses. Identity structure collapses. So this samadhi sitting reveals to me, when all these granthis are not there, I still am. Therefore, these granthis or knots are just unreal or illusory ideas. So when I come back to the waking, all I do is tapas. Intensify my tapas now. Yes, my tapas strengthens like this. Tapas is simply, I'm not going to get distracted by this granthi. It's only an illusory idea. Clear? This tapas strengthens. When this tapas strengthens in the waking, now you have brought the same samadhi seeing to your open-eyed samadhi or daily witnessing. The same thing can be seen in dream very clearly. Dream identity dissolves on waking. Like that only the waking identity dissolves when I recognize I am Turiya. The I is continuously shifting. Recognize the shift of this I. And what is the beauty there? The beauty is no identity remains. No identity remains, yet existence remains. I am, but I am not this, I am not that. I simply am. And then everything, all the drama in the waking becomes a game, a play. You're enjoying it, it's there. It doesn't touch you now. It cannot stain you. That is the strength that needs to be developed. Yama is telling Nachiketa, you have to develop that strength. Then only can you really see. Simply, he's putting it in simple words. He's saying that you can see when all this conditioning is set aside. You have to set it aside. Nobody else can set it aside for you. Even Yama cannot set it aside for Nachiketa. Nachiketa himself has to set aside all the conditioning born of these granthis aside. He gets to the point where there is no identity. That is when you will see the truth, O Nachiketa. You are asking what will happen at that point where time ends into timelessness. Get to that point where time is standing alone without this or that. Where witness is standing alone without this or that. Where it is just Turiya, the fourth. When you come to that point, now you will recognize time collapses into timelessness. Collapses, just a dramatic word. It simply merges. The drop merges with the ocean. It dissolves into the beyond. That moment you will catch yourself. Wow. There is no identity here. And no identity means immortality. The mortal I has become immortal. The identity of I has dissolved into that which is identity-less. And that still exists. That still exists. So this is very important verse. Very important verse. Number one task that Yama gives to Nachiketa, recognize the granthis or the knots. 2, you enhance your tapas, means the ability to not get distracted by these granthis need to be strengthened, and attend to that turiya, that witness consciousness, the I standing without this or that. And once you get to that, then you will recognize the I collapses or merges into the beyond. The mortal becomes immortal. No identity remains. This is the only path, only one way to get there. Yeah? In the verses that we will do ahead, he describes the path as well. So he says, this is the only path. There is no other path to get there. But you have to become comfortable with the understanding of I am identityless. Can I be comfortable with that? I am devoid of the conditionings. I am Ekta, I am the body, I am the mind, I am the spouse, I am the friend, I am this, I am that, I am that, I am that. All these need to be wiped away. Back to that stage where I was inherently pure as a little infant that was not conditioned by this is I, this is you. Prior to that conditioning, what am I in my original nature, in my true nature? That identity-free nature is there, is me. It is only superimposed by the granthis. Yeah, superimposed means, sometimes you take a picture and by mistake, and actually in the old cameras, this used to happen that you're taking the picture of the bird on the tree, but suddenly some other picture has superimposed on it that which you took a day before or a picture that you took a day after. So you're seeing the face of your parent, and inside that you're seeing the tree, and on that you're seeing the bird. You're confused. How did this happen? Superimposition of one image on the other. Yeah. That's exactly what has happened here. My true nature, that is identity free, has been superimposed on by the identity I am this body-mind person. The label of the body-mind, whatever it is, Ekta, Pamir, Ajay, you have a label. You have superimposed that identity on the identity-free nature. Recognizing this moment to moment, this is just a superimposition, just a granthi and letting it go. This is just a granthi and letting it go. I have a job or I lost my job, just a granthi, letting it go. I am famous or I'm not popular enough, just a granthi, letting it go. My spouse or my parent or my progeny likes me or dislikes me, just a granthi, letting it go. Simply being identity free. There is an emptiness beyond. Being comfortable with that emptiness. Being comfortable with nobodiness. So the question here is to ask yourself, am I comfortable being nobody? Today's day, we will practice this. Am I comfortable being nobody and nothing? Absolutely nothing. Can I be nobody and be comfortable with it? Okay. So that ends this verse. If I move on to the next verse, it becomes too long. So I'll stop here for today and we'll continue the verses tomorrow. We can do a short question-answer session if anybody has questions. If you have questions, you can type them to the host, or you can